through the recording in progress. Amazingly, we are halfway through our sessions. Esther, are you still able to hear me? Elizabeth dropped off. So it looks like it's going to be a conversation between you and I. Hi, Esther.
Hi, I'm able to hear you.
Okay. So it's just you and I. We'll start, and then if people hop on, it's fine. But yeah, let's do this. So amazingly, are in our halfway through our course. If you joined us from the beginning, I hope that things have been going well for you so far. Just to do as we always do, I want to quickly check in with everybody. How's your day going? How was your weekend? Esther, go, you start first.
So sorry
Esther,
if my
how was your day? How was your week?
sorry if my response are late. I'm
Go
actually
ahead.
looking through my screen, but my day was not bad. I had work to do, so I went
Okay.
to the office today, yes, to work from the office, and it was good. It wasn't bad.
Okay. And that's great. How was your weekend?
My weekend was packed, and we had a lot of meetings to attend. So, yeah, it was packed.
Okay. Meetings for church or meetings for you, your life,
No, family
meetings for your business.
meeting. Family meeting.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So my last week and weekend has been, I think the word I'll use is exhausting. We've jumped on a project that was really time bound, and we had to deliver in a very short amount of time. And I am someone who thinks that I could work very well under pressure, but I think it's gone to me over this past weekend, and we're still trying to figure out a few things in order to get this project up and running. So, good weekend, but I was working as much as I don't like to work on the weekends. I was working, and I think Elizabeth joined us again. Elizabeth, thank you. Welcome to Females in Business. We're in our week 3. Um, a few things. Please introduce yourself, and then we're just sharing with ourselves how our weekend has been, and how our day has been. So Elizabeth, you have the floor. Please go ahead.
Okay, please, good evening. Please, I'm Elizabeth. Yeah. I'm
Elizabeth,
from
where are you? You're from where?
University of Cape Coast.
Okay. How did you hear about the course?
Be at home economics.
You heard from where?
Please, I'm from University of Cape Coast.
Okay. So how did you hear about the course?
Please, you said.
How did you hear about the course? Esther, can you please type my question in the chat?
Okay, a friend told me about it.
Okay. Thank you very much for joining us. You could also put your details, your email into the WhatsApp group, and then Esther will add you to our WhatsApp group and our email list. So we always start our
Please,
sessions.
I'm
You're already in the group. Okay,
yes, please.
great. That's
I joined last 2 weeks, but I think last week I didn't get a link, so I couldn't join.
You didn't get the meeting link last week.
Yes,
Okay,
please.
so thank you. We'll continue to send the link out every week as a reminder. I believe
Okay.
Cynthia also joined us. Cynthia, how are you?
I'm fine, Elizabeth. Please, how are you doing too?
I'm doing well. So I know you, Cynthia, but for the rest of us who don't know you, can you just quickly introduce yourself
All right, thank you.
and
Good
what
evening,
project you're
everyone.
working on? Okay. Good evening, Cynthia.
Okay, so I'm Cynthia Sangapari, affectionately called Sita. Christ is the answer. So I'm a teacher by profession and an entrepreneur. Um, I I bake, I sell lady stuff, and I have a big vision of establishing a preschool by myself. Um, I work in the children's department in my church, ICGC. I I run protocol services for my pastor, so I'm in the protocol department as well. It's good to connect with all of you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Cynthia. So we start every week with a quote and then a brief reflection from each of us. This week's quote says this: I want to remind you that in life, I want to remind you that life is a drought board and the player opposite you is time. If you hesitate before moving or neglect to move promptly, your droughts will be wiped off at the board by time. You're playing against a partner who will not tolerate indecision. I'll say it again. I want to remind you that life is a drought board and the player opposite you is time. If you hesitate before moving or neglect to move promptly, your droughts will be wiped off the board by time. You're playing against a partner who will not tolerate indecision. Any takers, how do you interpret this and how does it apply, if at all, to your startup life, your entrepreneur life so far? Before I share my views, um, let's start with the lady who joined us last. Cynthia, what does this quote mean to you?
All right, thank you, Elizabeth, for the question. To reflect on the quote, and the import I'm trying to get is that life presents us with so much opportunities, but it's about how we are able to use our time well. That sets us apart from the others. So on the draft board, I have myself and time before me. So if I'm able to move within the time allotted to me, it means I'll be able to make a headway. But if I slack back and I believe that I'll just be hoping and not being taking any action, then it means I'll be wiped off by time. So it means that anything I've set, I'm supposed to just hit the road running, no matter how small it is. That is what I take from it. Thank you.
Esther, please, your interpretation.
Okay, thank you, Elizabeth. So what I understand about this is that all it's just saying is whatever we do in this life, it is marked by time, and time is not there to favor us. Time is not there. Time existed before we came, and time will still continue to exist even after we go. So whatever we do, we have to use time properly. If we are moving in this world, if we are actually acting on something, we have to have in our conscience that time is there and it is not on our side. It's not our friend. But if we decide to use time in the right way, then we are going to benefit from it. That's how I understand this.
Definitely. So before Elizabeth goes, I will share my views. Well, we're both Elizabeth, so Elizabeth squared. Before Elizabeth goes, I'll share my views. A couple of days ago, I was sitting there and it just hit me that actually today I was in a meeting earlier and we were like, oh, we'll start putting the preparation for this in June. And I said to them, June is tomorrow, right? So if there's anything that we're doing that requires urgency. We should realize that time is not on our side. As much as sometimes as a people, like, especially in the beginning of the year, it's like, oh, we have the whole year to set resolutions and go after our goals and our dreams. Then before you know it, it's halfway through the year, and anything and everything that you set out to achieve and you set out to do, the year is half gone, and time is not standing still for you to figure out what you want to do. So for me, my interpretation is there's a sense of urgency. Everything needs to be treated as pressing. I am often accused of, like, I grew up in New York, and we're very much, we don't take this kind of, excuse my language, but we don't take nonsense from anybody. So if I want something done and I know what the end goal is, I want to do it like right now, just so I could see what the results of my efforts will be in here and now. And I often bring that to my work, my family life, everything that I do. And I think this quote really speaks well to me, because I feel like everything, just about everything, should be treated with a urgency if you really want to do it well and get the impact that you so much desire. So that's my take. Elizabeth, what's your take on this quote? If you have a different take, share that with us. How do I navigate and go back to the, okay. Elizabeth, do you have the quote? Do you have any different view, any other inputs that you want to share before we move on?
I would just say that time doesn't wait for anyone. And then, so if actually you delay doing certain things, it will somehow go against you. Right.
First,
And like
as
time is always
entrepreneurs. Go ahead.
I'm just saying like time is always moving. So if you don't manage it well and then partake in your like some activities you have to, it will just like it will wipe up. I don't know.
Yeah, before you know it, it's gone. One thing that I've noticed, like especially in working in Ghana, this copy and paste culture that we have. I hope everybody knows what I'm saying. So if somebody has an idea, right? Like Cynthia has an idea for her school. We've talked about it in passing. And she shared that idea with me, exactly how she wants her models to look like. And I listened to Cynthia and I say, oh, Cynthia, that's great. Next thing you know, Cynthia has set up her school, but she does it within her own vision, how she wants it to operate. And then me, who is an educator at heart, also looks at Cynthia's at school and the impact that she's making. And it's not my vision, but I think I could also replicate her model. And then I go and I create another school that may be built on Cynthia's model from what I'm looking at from afar, right? But it's definitely not the way she would implement things, the way she would manage her school, the way she would go about her things is not exactly how I would do it. So this copy and paste culture that is, I would say, problematic within Ghana, we need to stop doing that. And to just highlight some of what you said, if you have an idea, a project, something that you want to work on, it's essential that you start today, because as we all know, time is not waiting for anybody. So start today, no matter what little progress you make, at least there's small progress that's being made each and every day. It's like the little drops in the ocean that will eventually fill to become the ocean. If you don't put those little drops in place, the ocean will not fill up. So with that, without much further ado, welcome to today's session, week 3. Cynthia, you missed weeks 1 and 2, I believe, but Esther, I believe, has emailed everybody the instructions on how to sign up for the course on the Nobi platform. You could download Nobi, you could access Nobi through your laptop, your desktop, as well as through an app. She will share in the WhatsApp group how everybody can create their own Nobi accounts. And even though I mentioned last week that our assignments should have been emailed, she figured out a way to drop it on the Nobi platform. So now I have to educate myself and go figure out how I will access her assignments on Nobi. So as that by the end of this class or early before next session, please share the instructions on how to navigate on Nobi again. So today we are covering sales and marketing for beginners. I think we all know what sales and marketing is and how it's beneficial to a startup or a nonprofit. Some of us in here are creating nonprofits. So just around the room, can we share how we think sales and marketing are essential for your startup, your own idea, your own startup, or the project that you're working on? Cynthia, I will start with you. Maybe because I know you, can you share a little bit with us how you've been driving sales for the many things that you do, and how you do that with your marketing?
Okay, thank you for the opportunity. With marketing, basically it's within the my network. Those within my network. Then I use my social media handles, especially WhatsApp. So my status, my Facebook, my Instagram account. So like I share my ideas, what I have on board, and like I post, and people also get in touch. So for now, for the lazy stuff I'm selling, basically I use social media and those within my network, my church members and family. So that is what I use basically. Thank you.
So Elizabeth, there are fewer of us on the session today. I'll ask you, what's your project? What's your idea that you've been working on, and how are you marketing it to your target population or the target people that you're trying to reach?
Please, I didn't get the question.
The question is, what's your idea or your product that you are currently working on? And how can you market it to your target customer?
Okay. Actually, I'm selling a disinfectant, washroom
Okay.
disinfectant, and then some foodstuffs. Yeah, and I also go about it by sending it to other rooms. I'm in the hall, so I send it to other rooms, and then I post on my status, and I send it to people for them to also post for me, so that other people will also see. Yeah.
Okay, so let me just ask this quick question. You have you're selling disinfectants and cleaning solutions on campus, right? Who are
Yeah.
your competitors? How do you make sure that you stand out from your competition?
Actually, for now, I've not seen anyone selling some. Mostly they take from me and sell it. On
Okay,
campus, I've not seen
is this on
anyone selling such
campus?
stuff. Yeah.
But what about outside of campus?
Mm,
You you don't have competition. I mean, if you don't have competition, I think it's good for you. It's good for you, but to be viable as a business, a little bit of competition is needed and essential to shake you up and always keep you on your toes, to be innovative, to always present the best and the quality product and services if you're doing a service for your customer base. So I think Ruth just joined us. Ruth, welcome. Thank you so much for coming. I wanted us to visit this concept that it was brought up last week. The unique value proposition. Who remembers when we mentioned that? Unique value proposition. Even though I have it on the slide, what it is. So your unique value proposition basically is your brand's position in the market, right? It's pretty much what your prospective buyer should expect from you. Like the thing that differentiates you from any other, Elizabeth mentioned detergent cleaner, any other detergent that is on the market at any given time. So even though she doesn't have any competition right now on campus, it would be good if she wants to continue this and expand her market base to maybe all of the central region. It would be really, really good for her to do a feasibility study or environmental scan within the space that she works in and see who is her competition, what other brands are doing similar things. And then she has to figure out what her unique selling point would be, what she has to do, and basically make sure that she is more attractive to the client than the next product or something that's available. So with that, I just mentioned she wants to be competitive in the environment. And when you are trying to be competitive within a certain, sometimes these days we've been using the buzzword ecosystem, but in the space that wherever you find yourself in, if you want to be competitive, you have to analyze the environment and the scope, the space that you're working in. And then you have to figure out the available resources that you have in order, or your services and that you have in order to target. I'm a mom, so excuse me. My daughter has come to, I guess, lead this session with me. So I'm a mom, I'm not gonna let this affect the work that I'm doing. But so when you're doing an environmental scan and trying to figure out how you could be the best amongst your competition, you can analyze the space that you're in. Guys, 1 second. All right, sorry about that. So you need to figure out position within the market or the space that you're working in. For Cynthia, I think when we spoke, I mentioned that there are a lot of schools here in Ghana, right? What would set your school apart? What's the unique thing about your school that would differentiate you from school B, school C to like the next school? And then you plan accordingly how you would position yourself within a certain space. And once you have the plan, you implement it for a couple of months or like a certain amount of time. And then you evaluate your progress and the success against your competition within the space. So I just wanted us to recap this a little bit because we mentioned it was not brushed over, but we mentioned it and didn't really go in depth last week. So on to today, what is sales and how do you sell? Esther, your wig business, how do you sell? How are you selling?
So I used to sell through social media and by word of mouth. So I actually told friends to tell other friends, and then I posted the samples of the wigs I made on my social media platforms, my statuses and my stories. That's how I used to make my sales.
Okay, so it seems like right now a lot of us are selling through social media, social and digital media. Does anyone use traditional media anymore, like newspapers, ads, billboards, anything? Is anybody using that to drive sales for their products and services?
Well, yes, people are using that, but sometimes those services comes at a cost. And social media is free.
Mhm.
If you have your status, you don't have to pay. Maybe you have to buy data to post those items, but you don't have to pay for a space or airtime or whatever it is.
Mhm.
But you just have to,
Definitely.
yeah, you just have to put
Yeah.
so you make your sales. So traditional
Go
traditional
ahead.
sales have become outmoded these days. It's not really common among the youth again, but it's still there. It doesn't mean it's gone. It's still there.
I mean, in certain environments, traditional media is essential. It's critical. I remember when in 2015 when I had my BlizzCon ambassadorship year. There was a lot of publication in newspapers and a lot of TV appearances. And for a company as old as BlizzCon, that's like, I think they've celebrated 100 years already since being a brand. For them, their markets, their target customer is like my mother, my grandmother, your mother, your grandmother, your aunties, the woman who we see selling in the markets. Like if I say this in the local language, like those kinds of people, and they are not absorbing digital content or social media content. But as we are transitioning to a more youthful market and a more digitized world, I also see the need for everybody to get on board to use social and digital media and digital marketing. Next week, we have a treat for you. There will be a special presenter who will be with us, who has done certificates in Google marketing and all kinds of things. So I will not reveal who that is, but next week, please tell your friend to tell a friend. This is what you need to be a part of. But today I will cover brick and mortar kind of presentations, PowerPoint. When I was in school and even now, the most critical and useful thing for us to do any of our end of term projects or anything was PowerPoint. And I just want to do a quick round in the room. How many of us are familiar with PowerPoint and feel like I should just brush through this? And or how many of us want me to like go step by step on PowerPoint and how we can actually use it for our businesses and marketing our businesses? Excuse me, but I will butcher your name. Is it Kausat Abdullahi? That's
Yes,
I
please.
don't know. Did I pronounce your name well?
Yes, please, you did.
Can you share with your experience using PowerPoint in your business?
Well, I haven't really used PowerPoint in any business so far. It's mostly related to studies like presentation for projects and other stuff. That's what I've used it for. But for business, I haven't done that, please.
Okay, so I remember a couple of years ago, my colleague and I had the opportunity to pitch for Tigo, Reach for Change and Tigo's accelerated program, and we all use PowerPoint and in business, PowerPoint is really, really essential and critical. So like last week, like I said, I learned differently. I learned from audio, I learned from pictures. So for those of us who learn differently, there's the step-by-step stuff here. And then I've embedded a video. So I think this video is 23 minutes. Let's just watch a little snippet of it, and then we'll move on to the next. And please, Esther will guide you on to navigate the Adobe platform, and all of our course content is.
In this video tutorial, we're going to look at
after each session, so you could go and replay it and get the best out of it.
How to get started using Microsoft PowerPoint in the classroom. And this is basically the beginner's guide to using PowerPoint. So if you've never used PowerPoint, or if you've maybe used it a little bit, but been kind of intimidated by it, this is the video for you. Let's get started using PowerPoint. I'm just going to go down here and I've got it pinned to the taskbar down here. And you can see that this is PowerPoint 2016. I'm just going to go ahead and click on it to open it up. Now, even though this is PowerPoint 2016, if you have an older version of PowerPoint, this video is still a good one to watch because the same basic functionality will still work in older versions of PowerPoint, going back all the way to about 2007. So if your version of PowerPoint,
a little bit.
definitely worth looking through these results, searching here, and looking at the templates that are available here. But like I said, more often than not, I just open up PowerPoint and I click blank presentation. That opens up PowerPoint. And let's take a minute to talk about the layout that we have to work with here. And there's some terminology that you'll need to know. First, we have tabs. Across the top, each of these is a tab. And when you click on a tab, it gives you a series of tools on something that they call the ribbon. Okay, so I click the home tab, it gives me the home ribbon, and I get a whole bunch of these tools. Now, these tools are organized and grouped together in groups. So we have a slides group, we have a clipboard group, a font group, a paragraph group. If I click on the design tab, I get a themes group, a variants group, and
Okay, so I will pause this video right now. How many of us feel like this is very elementary and we already know how to use this and we are zooming through it and we don't need a tutorial on PowerPoint?
in this video tutorial, we're going to look
So anyone can unmute and share. How do you feel like that video was very elementary and you know how to use PowerPoint and you're a pro at it? Because this week's assignment is going to ask you to create a 5-slide deck to pitch your business to us. And then next week, hopefully at the end of this, we will be able to pitch our businesses to each other. And in the next iteration, like the 2.0 of this course, I'm praying that we can get some people to like fund our ideas and help us scale our businesses a little bit more. So PowerPoint, was that elementary? Do we need it? Do we think it was useful? How do you think it was going to benefit our businesses moving forward? So Elizabeth, please unmute and tell us, how do you think a PowerPoint presentation can advance your business, your detergent business, if it's not already?
Haven't thought of it. Actually, I don't know how to use it.
Okay, so I would
Yeah.
ask that you watch the video over in your own time over the course of the week until next week.
Oh, okay.
So Esther, share with us your PowerPoint Pro, your presentation Pro. How did you use PowerPoint or slide decks in presenting your work business, if at all?
So I have not actually thought of it, but here's one thing I'm going to do, because as time goes on, I have seen a lot of people can actually use PowerPoint.
Esther, you are breaking up a little. So I hope everybody can hear me. I'll talk about my journey a little bit. How I sell. Let's say how I sell myself. I am someone who really shies away from selling myself, but I alluded to the Blissco thing not too long ago. As a brand ambassador for Blissco, my role, my job was basically to help to sell the cloth, the textile, the brand. And as is listed here, we were trying to get people to see the value of the Blisco cloth. So one thing that we always do is something called, the name is escaping me, but we did workshops. There's a lot of counterfeits, cloth on the markets. So we would do workshops for people like consumers, people who sell fabrics. And even one time we went to the market to do a workshop for them where you're able to tell the fake from the real, right? And then Blisco, before they come out every quarter, I'm using Blisco as a case study right now. Every quarter they do a new product line. So that's 4 times a year they come out with new products, new cloth, new designs. So if the customer says we want to see vibrant colors on our prints, those kinds of things, you have to listen to them. And because without the customer, right, your business would die. And you have to test the markets before you launch your product or your service. What Blisco has been doing in the recent past is like they'll do maybe a soft launch for a group of women who are their top buyers. At least in Ghana, they've been doing this. I don't know about the other countries on the continent if they've been doing it. So they'll get a group of their top buyers at the shop at the Accra Mall, and then like just do a teaser, ask them, is this something that you think your customers, your clientele would buy? And thinking outside of the box, lately, Blisco has been doing more digital marketing. Everybody's transitioning to digital and social media. They've been actually prioritizing more video content. And because I think they really see that if they want to drive sales in Ghana, a couple of years ago, sales were down. But I think with a younger MD and new insights, new fresh ideas, they really feel like they want to drive sales here in Ghana. They have digital. And so in addition to those of us who are brand ambassadors for the company, they've brought on a brand influencer. So now she is a brand ambassador, but she's a brand influencer. And I think that's one of the things that a lot of businesses are using lately. So you have to test fast. I think there's a saying like fail quick and fail very quickly. So you learn fast and then you improve, right? So I talked about mainstream media before. TV, newspapers, prints, those things are very, very still essential for a company like Blisco to do well in the Ghanaian markets. So they were always in touch with the media houses, putting out press releases, inviting them to these like intimate events at the shop and other gatherings that they would have. So when they do that, it's helping them get good PR, good public relations, and that's good. And I think a lot of websites these days have like a question or like contact us, give us your feedback kind of option. It's really good to give your customers, your clients, the window, the platform, the space to give you advice and let you know what's working for them. I think at the Blisco store, when you go in there, any of those young ladies who are there to assist you, at the end, you'll get a little piece of paper. If you have any comments, any input that you want to share with them, it's there. And then I believe that to combat the anti-counterfeit thing, they came up with a short code also where you could put in your feedback. So all these things are really essential for you as you're trying to market and sell your startup, your product, your service. So moving on. Developing a PowerPoint presentation. I won't go into details with this. You could watch it on your own. I always want to have a practical component to anything that we're doing. So it's not just me talking. So you could go through this. It's very basic. It's 59 seconds. I think people So my favorite thing about PowerPoint is, like the designer suggestions, or like back in the day, we just do very boring slides. But these days, I think Microsoft came up, and even Google too, when you use Google Slides, they give you options to jazz up, and I'm dating myself, I am showing my age, jazz up your presentation by giving you different templates that you could use. So please, when you go through
In this video,
the video, you'll learn all that you need to do. And there's another video on advanced.
In this video, we'll see
add
how to create a
tables
table and some more
to your
formatting
PowerPoint
techniques.
presentations. So in the interest of time, I'm gonna zoom through them. All the pointers are there. All the videos are there. Esther, I believe, will repost how you could get access to the Nobi platform. So let's watch this quickly. So how many of us?
This episode contains
How many of us would say that we're pros with presentation skills? How many of us? Like, just before they have to stand in front of a group, their students, their colleagues, to make a presentation, to even like express themselves. This video is gonna talk about presentation skills, how to present your PowerPoints with confidence. Ruth, you're a student, share a little bit on your presentation skills, your ability to present. Do you think you're when it comes to presenting? Please unmute and speak. Ruth. Okay, so we'll wait for Ruth. Can I hear from Kauzat? What your views are on your presentation skills, your presentation ability? Do you think you're pro? Do you think you need some work? Because next week, your homework, I will ask that you present it to all of us as a group. I need to be able to test your abilities. If you need help, let me know. Let myself and Esther will. So I
Okay.
am calling office hours to do it with you. How's that going?
Yes. Yes, please. So I would say I'm a pro, but I'm intermediate. I'm not really good at it, but I'm okay a bit.
What areas do you feel like you need to improve?
I didn't get you, please.
I said, what area do you think you need to improve? What area do you think you need to improve?
I think maybe to be about trying to link each slide to the other, like what I'm really going to talk about next. Organization.
Okay. Okay, so perhaps you can schedule time with her and I to work on that.
Yes, please.
Okay,
Thank
so
you.
let's watch this video. It's 5 minutes. Very quickly. You're welcome. It's 5 minutes, very quickly, and then we'll zoom into your assignment and then voila, we're done for today.
Repeated language with dubious meaning is for instructional purposes only. Don't repeat at work. Today, I want to share with you three tips that help me make more effective PowerPoint slides and deliver better presentations. So if you go to a lot of internal company meetings and you need to present at some of them, so either to your team or your management, or you're a consultant that needs to pitch a product or service to another company, these tips can help you. They actually stem from my own mistakes. And these are the tips that I personally used to improve my presentations. Number one, simplicity is not the enemy of detail. In fact, as stated by Da Vinci, simplicity is the ultimate sophistication. Slides are there to help deliver your message. They aren't there for you to remember your text. They're for your audience, not for you. This was a big problem area for me when I created slides. When I went to a meeting, I took with me one thing: my slides. They were my cue points. They were also my handouts. It was like a 3-in-1 deal, except that it was only a good deal for me, but not for my audience. I used to add one bullet point after another because I didn't want to forget something. What happened was I ended up with crowded, intimidating slides that no one could. You're presenting. One complicated slide takes the same amount of time to present as 3 simple slides. It's a question of pacing your communication. It's about giving them the right amount of information in the order they need to understand it. Now, the difference is the complicated slide confuses and distracts the viewers, whereas with the simple ones, they're likely to stay on and get your message. Now, when I attend an important meeting, I take with me 3 things. I have my cue cards, which help me remember my points. I have my slides, which help my audience remember the most important points. And I have the detailed handouts that help them get more detail if they want. But if you're not sure whether your slides are simple enough or not, here's a test you can do. If you gave your PowerPoint to your neighbor and you ask them, go to the meeting and press next, next, next on the slides, will it make sense to your audience? If yes, that's not a PowerPoint presentation. Those are your handouts. Your slides shouldn't make sense without you. Number 2, the use of acronyms. Do they help or hurt? If you're in a finance meeting and you say, let's take a look at the BS you've been working on, probably people will understand you mean balance sheet and you're not trying to be offensive. But it's not always clear. When I was working in a team on an Oracle project, setting up a group finance consolidation system, we had to create the backbone structure, which is called the metadata of the system. Now, one task was to set up different hierarchies for our company structure, and all of them had code names, like those spaces, short words, sometimes numbers. One request we got was to set up separate structures for our European and American companies. The code to use was ANAL Europe, ANAL America, ANL standing for analysis. So some words just shouldn't be shortened. You can either entirely replace them or use the full word. So going back to your use of acronyms in a meeting, you want to make sure that you don't unintentionally offend someone and you don't exclude anyone because they don't understand what it means. So make sure you emphasize what these are in the handouts and also on the slide if you're using them in there. Number 3, branding. Are you getting excessive with your branding? The companies I worked for always had their logo on every single slide. When I started to work on my own, that's what I did. I put my logo on every single slide, prominently featured on top. I believe that was the professional thing to do. But when I started to make simpler slides, that logo was so distracting. It looked bigger than ever. Before, I didn't even notice it so much because the slide was so full. But when it started to get empty, I started to question the placement of any image or object on that slide. And I asked, does it bring any added value? It didn't. It was distracting. I don't need my logo on every single. It's enough to put it in the first and the last pages. And if you're concerned about privacy, you can use a light watermark in the footer and make it small. That's what I do now. Think about the slides you use for your internal meetings. Do you have them every single slide? Does it bring any added value? So these were my 3 tips that helped me make better PowerPoint slides and more presentations. I hope you found. I'm curious to hear what you think. Also, what do you most struggle with when you make PowerPoint presentations? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video.
Okay, so what did we think of that video? What did we think of that video? I like whenever I make presentations, it's like bullet points, things that I'll look at, maybe one word, a few things that I'll look at, and I will remember what I'm trying to do. And the most impactful thing I feel like she said was keep it simple. Don't make things too wordy. Now I'm thinking to myself, I put my logo on every single slide, but I'm thinking to myself if it's really needed there. Anybody else want to jump on and tell us what they thought in that video before we present you with your homework for this week?
So
Elizabeth, if you're able to, okay, Esther, go ahead, you're talking.
I also agree with what you said, that when you're presenting something, you just have to make it simple, because when it's lengthy, it also takes time and it makes the conversation very boring or your presentation boring. But if you make it simple and you put it in bits, let's say in points, and you're able to explain it in detail, it's best than you writing or typing a lot on a presentation and then reading it out. So that's what I took from the video.
Definitely, definitely. So that brings us to just right at 7:30, our session is ending. A lot of us have great ideas, business ideas, things that we're working on, things that we hope to be working on in the near future. So the homework for this week is all the videos, or just you navigate your own PowerPoint or Google Slides. Create a five slide presentation to pitch your business, or your business idea to the rest of us in this course. And as always, email them to hello@eapconsult.com by next Monday, 5 p.m. Or when I think Esther has shared the ways to upload your assignment on Novi. She has to teach me tomorrow when we meet, so I can access it. Yeah, so you could either post on the Novi platform or email it to us by next Monday at 5 p.m. I'm really, really looking forward to looking at your slides, and then next Monday, as promised, we'll have a guest presenter, and I think we'll end the session with all of you do pitch for us. Cynthia, you and I went through some trainings on how to pitch. And I really hope this is not as nerve-wracking as that experience was. I don't know how you felt, but I really hope it's not as nerve-wracking as it was for me. And all of us will really kill our pitches, and we'll come in on Monday with the best presentations that anybody has ever seen. So everybody, have a good evening, rest of your week. Don't forget to submit your comments last week and this week, and we'll see you again next week, Monday. Same time, same place. Have a good night. Bye.
Bye. Thank you, Elizabeth. Bye-bye.
Bye.